Good evening, and thank you. As I start, I want to just thank all those that I represent today, more than 100 volunteers and 11,505 signers, and we, with one voice, ask you to pass this ordinance. Swath of people in beliefs, Democrat, Republican, unvaccinated, and vaccinated. The petition process is not a political instrument of mass like elections, but of a tool of representation. Hence, a small number of signatures represents a large group. For example, 111,000 people voted in the last election. This petition, we collected 111,000 people voted in the last election. We collected 11,505 signatures in less than 2 months. That represents 10% of those that voted in the last election. This is no small number and should not be ignored. This ordinance would not ban all mandates, as one of the counselors has misinformed the public that this would ban all vaccine and mask mandates. If that was the stated goal, there would be no way that this would succeed or stand legal scrutiny. This ordinance would only add an extra layer of protection, scrutiny on mandates, and challenge on behalf of the citizens all mandates that discriminate. We've seen far too many examples, but let's just take a look at a few. Last summer, we got mandates that vaccinated could take off their masks while unvaccinated couldn't. Up until recently, parents had to watch their unvaccinated students in school do invasive testing multiple times a week to play sports, while the vaccinated students didn't. Unvaccinated were forced out of jobs because companies unfairly refused medical religious objections, and now dozens upon dozens, hundreds of businesses in Portland are requiring vaccine passports to have equal access to services, which would beg the question from a moral perspective: does discrimination exist before laws are passed or courts have ruled? Of course it does. Sadly, of course it does, and it must be discussed. Some establishments are making discriminatory COVID policies beyond what was mandated by the governor. Just last night, one such establishment in the county, a little kids dance studio, notified all clients that if there were a COVID contact at the studio, that the unvaccinated would be excluded from the prepaid classes for 5 days, but the vaccinated would not. This policy is one of many examples of discriminative mandates. And honestly, the largest group that has unfairly suffered the most, not by COVID, mind you, but by COVID mandates alone, is our children. Even though not one child or teenager, thankfully, has died from COVID in Clark County, these mandates have been unfairly placed on all our children, and the mental health damage will last for years. Who's looking out for their rights? Who's going to stop these unending decrees and finally start looking at the totality of the outcomes? The petition is a political solution to a political problem. It's not perfect, but a solution brought forth by the people, calling on you to act on their behalf, in a solution that is rooted in our Constitution, that all political power is inherent in the people, and the governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. I wish we had time to present our vigorous legal defense. Yet some of our elected councilors feel content in following the opinions of what the Democrat lawyers are advising them. Marching orders. In fact, Governor Inslee sent marching orders from his legal office, Democrat lawyers. And really, it's more likely that this isn't the best advice at all out there. But is that what's going to be followed? Opinions don't outweigh the obvious, that you have taken an oath, not to Jay Inslee or his mandates or policy edicts, but you are agents of the people of Clark County, bound to protect the state and U.S. Constitution rights and protections that are given. By the way, some have expressed concerns about preemption and supremacy issues. This is an easy fix. amend the ordinance and add a severability and a superseding limitation clause. And since there are no COVID laws that protect discriminatory mandates on the books, this ordinance will stand. You are agents of the people, not sworn to protect institutions, bureaucracies, policies. You are representatives sworn to defend the rights for an overreaching government in a manner that we can't. We are a republic and the legislative body closest to the people and most responsible for protecting our liberties. Nothing in the Constitution stops the county from passing a law in the face of temporary mandates. And yes, the judiciary will have the final say, but will you support and defend discriminatory mandates, or will you stand with us and pass this ordinance? Thank you so much for your time.